Sports Scene, Hampton Roads' premier interview show with Kraig Bicouvaris, each Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11.
And you look at that, 4-4 at home, which is just average, 4-3-1 on the road. I mean, you're not going to win any games like that. They were not the same team after they beat the Packers, yet the Packers were a totally different team.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBic and listen weekly as Kraig interviews distinguished guests with excellent commentary and insight. Sports Scene, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM. From Chesapeake, Virginia, the Lighthouse 100.1 presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBic. Now here is Kraig Bicouvaris.
Sports Scene presented by Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com. Sports Scene is midweek online, Saturday on the radio on WPMH AM 1010, 100.1 FM, and TuneIn.com by typing WPMH in the search bar. Tell your friends about Sports Scene, Twitter @GregBic, @GJB Radio, and you can see the rest of my Twitter handles on GJBTV.com in the contact section. Thank you to our military for what you do. Guest lineup presented by NewportNewsGreekFestival.org, the fall edition, an indoor event, October 17th through the 19th in Newport News. Phone line presented by Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville and Virginia Beach, now delivering. All the best to Andrew Luck in his post-NFL career. It's his decision. All the best to him. NFL football is here. College football, Major League Baseball, a great time for sports. Again, for more, log on to GJBTV.com. And congratulations to Jimmy the Greek's Restaurant, who's got a location in Yorktown, now opening in Virginia Beach. Stay tuned.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Like them on Facebook and visit them at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 485-5555 today. Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to GJBTV.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Kraig Bicouvaris.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. I want to thank our good friends at CP Shuckers, locals tradition on Shore Drive, Pacific Avenue. People love their delicious food, great appetizers, steak bites, sandwiches, all the games on TV. Go by and see the great staff, Matt, Mark, Chef Leon at CP Shuckers. Like them on Facebook. It's a pleasure to talk to Harry Minium, longtime writer for the Virginian Pilot, now with Old Dominion as a senior executive writer. Harry, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to Saturday's game. How about you, Greg?
Very good, very good. Look forward to it as well. We've had Harry on Sports Highlights and Sports Scene on several stations. And, Harry, let's talk about the stadium. That's front and center.
It is. It's not been open to the public yet, so that when people walk in Saturday, they'll be seeing it for the first time, and they're going to be amazed at how much bigger it is than Foreman Field was. Foreman Field, was built in 1936. It was built for little people. It was built with, fan amenities for the 1930s, not the 21st century, and the new stadium is amazingly large, and it just has new sound system, new scoreboard, new video boards that are just amazing.
When you talk about the attendance, as far as what does it seat, does it have a lot more seating capacity than Foreman Field did?
No, it's a little under 21,000. They did a seat count yesterday, and that's where it is. It's probably a little more than 2,000 more than Foreman Field really sat, but that statistic is misleading because there's 9 more inches of leg room built in every seat. All the new 16,000 seats on the sidelines, they have back supports or chair backs. There's 7 new concession stands with themed food. There are 223 toilets, and I heard 112 of them flushed at the same time last week when the ODU band flushed them. They have to do that to make sure they work. It's just a beautiful facility. You walk in, it looks like a 30 to 32 seat, 32,000 seat stadium. It doesn't look like it's just a little under 22,000.
Talking to Harry Minium from Old Dominion, but one thing, Harry, is people from compared to 20 years ago now are on their phones during the game. They want that game experience. They want good food, like you said. They want hospitality. They want restrooms. They want to interact with their fellow Old Dominion fans and even the visiting fans, too. They want that game day experience to be like home. It's not going to be like home, but the amenities there, the suites as well, do make it feel like you're close to home at least.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they have 30 suites, and I can't think of another group of five program like Old Dominion. Like in the some Sun Belt or Mountain West conferences that has that many suites. They've also got a clubhouse for 400 people called the Priority Automotive Club. But the thing that really sets this stadium apart are the amenities. You've got new concession stands, new restrooms, and I have some advice for people. Eat the crab cake sandwich if you get it. I was at a food tasting last week we did for Wavy, and they're absolutely to die for. As far as being, this being akin to an experience in your living room, Old Dominion is trying to replicate that. What Athletic Director Wood Seelig says they're trying to do with the new video board, which is 51 feet by 31 feet. You're going to have Old Dominion live on there. You're going to have Old Dominion highlights, but you're also going to have highlights from UVA, from Virginia Tech, from JMU, William & Mary. You're going to have highlights from all over the country because that's what people want. They want to see college football, just not in that stadium. They want to see it all around the country, and that's what Old Dominion is going to try and provide.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some kinks that first game, but another thing they want wins, and of course wins can cover up a lot of losses. And I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second too as well. I'm not a big fan of night games that are not on TV. It's not like we're in Arizona or in the desert where it's 100 degrees everywhere we're going. I know it's hot in the month of August. We're still in August going into September here, but TV dictates TV times. Like Virginia's game against Pittsburgh and William & Mary are dictated by the ACC. Old Dominion does not have a lot of TV games. A lot of their fans are senior citizens. Why can't they play during the daytime?
Because it's simply too hot in August. I'll have to disagree with you a little bit there. I mean, we had student move-in last Friday, and it was 95 degrees. I felt sorry for all the parents and all the kids. They were just sopping wet.
Sure.
And also 7 o'clock. There's less likely to be thunderstorms at 7 than there are likely to be at 5 or 6. This game was going to be a night game because they don't. You're right. They don't have any games on traditional TV this year, meaning any home games on traditional TV, so they could set the game times. But all their games are being televised on some platform. This is being televised on ESPN3, a streaming service you can get on most cable systems and all that, as long as you have a Roku or something that streams. Most of the other games are going to be on ESPN Plus. But you're right, this one was not dictated by television. It was simply dictated by the athletic director, who said that he thinks that 7 o'clock would be a great time to start.
Yeah, I think Bobby and Wood have done a great job, of course, but we're talking a lot about past success. What do you think about the 2019 team?
There's a lot of potential here, but they're mighty young. And you just look at the offensive line right now. They've got a junior, a redshirt senior, or sophomore, junior. Sophomore, freshman. The defensive line has junior, and sophomore. That's if you're including the Mike lineman there. So they're very young. As Bobby Wilder has said, it may not be pretty in the beginning, and I don't think it's going to be. It's going to take them a while to grow up. It's going to take a minute, as Coach Wilder likes to say. And they've got a very tough schedule. After they play Norfolk State, which that's an emotional game because, it's a crosstown rivalry and all that. Then they go to Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech's, of course, going to be lying in wait for them. And then they go to Virginia after a week off. Then they come back and host East Carolina. East Carolina's a tough team that, beat them by a hair last year in Greenville. That's a tough way to start a season. And in Conference USA, most of the good teams in Conference USA are in the East Division, and they play all 6 teams in the East.
Very nice talking to Harry Minium from Old Dominion. Of course, his brother Mike, the late Mike Minium, is in the Hampton Roads Sports Media Hall of Fame, hrsmhof.com. We'll be inducting our third class in the spring of 2020 at Langley Speedway. Greg Bicouvaris along with Harry Minium. Go ahead, Harry.
I just want to say I appreciate so much the Hampton Roads, the induction into that Hall of Fame. It meant so much to his family. I want to thank you, Greg, and everyone else in that committee. It really meant a lot to me.
Yep, we really have a good board, and it's really all about Hampton Roads. That's where we live in. That's where we grew up in, and of course, Old Dominion is a big part of that. What else, as far as the Monarchs are concerned, for fall sports? I mean, that's not the only sport going on.
Well, their soccer team is not ranked very highly in the Conference USA preseason poll, but I think they're going to be pretty good. Their women's soccer team is more highly ranked. I think they're going to be good. Field hockey, they've had a good recruiting class. They were nationally ranked for a while last year, and then slipped toward the end of the year. I think Coach Griffiths is going to have a better season, and of course, we're gearing up at ODU for volleyball. We're getting ready to start work on a $3.1 million improvement to the Jim Jarrett building. That's the office building where Wood Selig and others have their offices. And they're going to turn the gym in that into an 840-seat volleyball facility. It's really going to be nice.
Very nice.
It's a tough time for athletic programs. Money is short. Resources are short, and yet Old Dominion has managed to, in the last 5 or 6 years, move up to FBS and add, build a practice facility for the men's and women's basketball teams, begin volleyball, and now open a new stadium. That's pretty amazing for the difficult times we're in.
I got to add a little humor to it. Do you think with the new stadium people will still leave at halftime of football games, or will those stick around?
That's a good question. A lot of people do leave at halftime, especially the students. And here's the deal that surprised me a little bit. We've added a lot of upgrades for students. 1,000 of them are going to be sitting on the sidelines. There's going to be a DJ in the stands with them, and they are able to use their meal card to actually buy concessions.
Wow!
Now that meal card is something they've been asking for years, and so a lot of the students, they get hungry at halftime and they head over to the dining hall. Well, now I think they're going to stay. And here's the deal. This week, on Monday and early Tuesday, before they shut off ticket pickup, had 5,500 people pick up tickets or purchase tickets for guests. That's by far the largest amount of students who've ever picked up for any event here. If just half of them show up, and I think more than half will, that's going to be an intimidating factor for Norfolk State, having 3,000, 4,000 students here, and we still have students who can show their pass at the gate and get in.
Yeah, I guess the good thing about Norfolk State is they played Old Dominion before in that proximity of that stadium, so it's not going to be brand new to them totally.
No, well, especially to their coaches and their fans. Although that's going to be a brand new stadium for everyone.
Sure.
And it is. And Stephen Ballard and Greg Dubois, Assistant Vice President for Finance here at Old Dominion, he deserves a lot of credit because one of the great things he did is he allowed for Old Dominion to raise money and at the last minute add a club area for some of the biggest donors at ODU. 388 tickets were sold, $7,500 for 4 apiece, and each one of the 96 or so people who bought tickets donated at least $25,000. Now, with Dennis Elmer from Priority Automotive donating $1.5 million, they paid for the suite, and they've got money left over, and that's a great amenity here. He did a great job of accepting that and incorporating that into the plan. But Stephen Ballard has worked miracles to get the stadium open. No one opens a stadium in 9 months. Everyone I talked to said, well, we're going to open at Norfolk State, right? The stadium's not going to be ready. And it's not going to be, a finished product. There are going to be some touches here and touches there, maybe some signage here that's not working. There are going to be some opening game flubs. We're going to have to sort of accept that and move on. But to get a stadium done in 9 months, and it's such a beautiful stadium, I think of all the accomplishments in his career, I think this is number one.
Yeah, with the weather especially always up and down, winter, summer, fall, spring. Harry, tell the audience how they can connect with you online and follow you on Twitter, but also read some of your articles on Old Dominion's website.
Well, if you're looking for stadium futures, go to www.odu.edu. You'll find we've done 4 weeks of stories on the stadium, and I've begun writing this week on the ODU's sports page. It's odusports.com, and odusports.com is generally where you can find my stories on athletics most of the time.
And Google, too. Harry, all the best to the Monarchs and your career at Old Dominion, and I'm sure we'll talk to you very soon.
I hope so. Thank you, Kraig.
Thank you. Harry Minium right there from Old Dominion. Sports Scene will continue after these messages.
Mark your calendar for October 17th through 19th as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church presents the Newport News Greek Festival Fall Edition, an indoor event inside the Hellenic Center. Enjoy Greek food, beverages, desserts, dancing, music, and much more in a most pleasing atmosphere. Located on 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on I-64 with free admission and parking. Log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org. See you October 17th through 19th for the Newport News Greek Festival Fall Edition.
Opa!
Welcome back to Sports Scene on WPMH. Greg Bicouvaris at Kraig Bick on Twitter. We'd like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world listening to today's version of Sports Scene on Twitter, YouTube, and TuneIn. Thanks for all that you do. We hope you're enjoying today's version of Sports Scene. It's a pleasure to interview our regular guest right here who's been on Sports Highlights, Sports Scene. Got a big event coming up in September. Kraig Cole from the Hampton Cup Regatta. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Greg, doing well. We got everything locked in. We're coming up on our event, and we're ready.
All right, we're on a Saturday right now, 10 to 11, and, of course, the next few Saturdays it'll be here. And, of course, it's not just a Saturday, but it's a whole weekend event, and it starts on Friday night.
Yeah, we have our Friday night kickoff party. That's got to be a tradition for us at 6:30. We've got our Running with Scissors band playing, and we'll have Flame and Pie wood-fired pizza out there. We'll have the field full of boats. Drivers come up and you can talk to them. You can climb in the boat, and on some cases, try on the helmets. You talk to them, and just get a good feel for what it takes to put on this event.
Very nice, very nice. And this is one of the longest running events ever.
It's actually the longest running, continuously running event, motorsport event in the country. Others have started before us, but for whatever reason, they're not continuous. So that's kind of our claim to fame. We've never stopped. We keep on rolling.
Very good. We'll talk about the staff and people putting this behind the scenes and making this all come to fruition.
Yeah, we have an all-volunteer committee, Greg. We've got about 30 folks that come together year-round to plan, to talk about ideas, what worked, what didn't work the year before, and just continue this event going. And I'm proud to be able to say, we've got this thing down pat pretty good. I hesitate to use the word turnkey because there's always a few things we want to try different each year. And, this year is no different. But, everybody's volunteer, like I said, and our day volunteers, our weekend volunteers are also critical to this event. So anybody listening who wants to come out and help us for the weekend, we'd love to have you.
Well, let's talk about the hours, the location, how do people get there? I know it's free admission and parking.
Yeah, it is a free admission. You can park over in Fort Monroe or over in the streets in Phoebus. We actually do have a field that we have one of the local swim teams that are manning the field for a donation for their organization. But that's over on North Curry Street. We do close down the Mercury Boulevard Bridge between Phoebus and Fort Monroe, and that's our primary spectator area. And what you want to do, you want to if you're coming down the interstate, you want to get off of that Mallory Street exit, whether you're coming from Norfolk area or coming down the peninsula from Richmond area, that kind of thing. And you just follow the signs down Mallory, take a right on Mercury, and then another right on Curry, and you're right there at the parking field, and then just walk on over to the bridge and just grab your spot and enjoy the race.
Very nice. And, of course, there's all types of ages there as well, even kids.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
There's all types of ages there as well as kids as well.
Oh yeah, everything. We've got everything from the little kids that are coming pushing the strollers from their mamas, all the way up to grandparents, great grandparents. It's a whole family event all the way around. from our race teams coming in their RVs, making the weekend trip out of it, to the spectators, grabbing their traditional spot. Because we've got folks they come out on Friday and actually drop their stuff early to claim their spot. So they enjoy it, and they want to keep bringing their families out.
Very nice talking to Kraig Cole from the Hampton Cup Regatta. Kraig and his board do a great job. Of course, you'll see the commercial on Channel 13, Channel 10, and Fox 43. And really, it's not something you just plan a month before. This is a year-round event. Like we mentioned about your board, the volunteers are big, the community is big. It really is a total community event, but it's a national and international type of field that performs here.
Yeah, we are truly international. We do have racers come down from Canada. We've got one fellow that comes out from New Zealand, and from across the country, all the way from Oregon, California, Washington State, Florida, Louisiana, all around the country. It comes out to, and we are hosting the Summer Nationals this year, so we should have a higher boat count. Somewhere around about 80 boats is what we're looking for.
Talk about the boat, the size, the speed, and the water as well.
Yeah, we run up to 14 different classes of the inboard series. We run everything from what we call the little J-stocks, the younger kids, the 9-year-olds can drive those, and we'll race all the way up to the Grand Prix, which are the big boys, and they'll run up to 175 miles an hour on the straightaways. The water is over there, Mill Creek. It's a protected body of water on 3 sides with the Mercury Boulevard Bridge finishing off that 4th side. And we are a record course. We are surveyed for records, so anybody out there that they break a record, that is certifiable, and it goes on the record books with APBA National.
That is really nice, and you talk about records are meant to be broken too. And are you always impressed by the type of feel that you get as far as the competition? Because these guys, and do you have any gals in racing at all?
Absolutely. We have a lot of girls, ladies, women out there that come out and race. And every one of them, they are out there racing with their heart. I mean, because at this level of sport, they're not making a ton of money like your NASCAR drivers and that kind of thing. But they're out there because they love the sport, and they just want to get out there and have a good time and put on a good race. Everything from, like I said, the small ones all the way up to the Grand Prix.
Yeah, not to mention that they have to love the water too. They have to love the boat. They've got mechanics just like they do for a car, except for a boat as well, at a high speed. And of course, they got to stay focused. How many are on the boat during the actual race?
Oh, well, yeah, one driver in most of the classes. We do have one class boat called the Jersey Speed Skiff. That's your V-bottom boat. And they have a driver and what's called a righty mechanic. And that's actually a tribute back to the old rum runner days. Because we did start in the 20s. And they will run that, and those skiffs will actually put on a good show because they will bounce around, and when they make those turns, they will go up to almost 90 degree on plane, and you think they're going to go over, but I've never seen one go over. They always come back down and keep getting it when they're on that back straightaway.
And these are racers; they're all over as well. They don't just race here; they race all over the country too.
No, that's correct. APBA runs the inboard series all around the East Coast, West Coast, actually inland, and on your lakes and rivers on the inland states. But yeah, they run all over the country, and like some of these guys go on a circuit all summer long, and that is what they put on. That's what they go on all summer. That's why you see a lot. Actually, you see a lot of teachers that are actually doing this, ironically, because they have the summer off, and they can go out there and run it, and they have a good learning experience. And they like to teach the kids.
Absolutely, and of course, the city council has always endorsed you as well.
Yeah, the City of Hampton by far is our number one supporter. We've got a lot of other sponsors. I'm going to hesitate to mention them by name because I'll miss somebody, and I don't want to do that. Just if anybody wants to check them out, go to our website. But the City of Hampton, we could not put on this event without them. They provide us so much support with monetarily as well as services through the city electricians. The Parks and Rec folks come out, and they have some equipment that we get from them. And we just could not put this on an event without those folks.
And you talk about it, it really is truly a fan experience, too. I mean, you talk about up close and personal, and the fans get a chance to take selfies, take pictures. They really are all-inclusive with the fans.
Oh, absolutely. Our pits are open. Anybody wants to go over to the pits during the event, you can walk over and just talk to the racers while they're working on the boat. I do ask just to kind of give sometimes get a little patience. Sometimes they just came off the water. They might be doing some tweaking, but just you can come over and talk to them. They said take those selfies with them, and they really enjoy showing off their pride and joys.
For a person who's never been before, what should they expect the first time going out that weekend?
Well, first and foremost, you're going to have a lot of fun. But once you get on the bridge, you're going to find yourself immersed in a whole festival-type atmosphere. We've got merchandise vendors out there. We've got our limited edition collectible T-shirts for the event. We've got food vendors out there, everything from pizza to hot dogs to icy snow cones, just a whole barbecue. And then we actually have some bands that will play out on the bridge during Saturday and Sunday in between race heats, because we're setting things up take about sometimes 15 minutes or so, and just keep that whole atmosphere rolling that you can enjoy. Further down the bridge, we will have a pirate reenactment group. Blackbeard's crew will be out there. You can check those guys out. Takes a lot of fun selfies with them, and we do have our classic car show as well. That's return every year, and we actually have a dedicated children's area too. If you want to take some of the little tots down there to so they're not so bored sometimes.
Talking to Kraig Cole from the Hampton Cup Regatta. Google the Hampton Cup Regatta. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us for Sports Scene every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 on 100.1 FM, 1010 AM. TuneIn.com. Type in WPMH in the search bar. Always archived on Twitter and YouTube. I mean, really, Kraig, there is something for everyone. You've got everything covered from an entertainment standpoint that weekend.
We like to think so. We want to appeal to everybody. And one of those things I mentioned before that we always try to bring a little something different each year, we actually will have the Budweiser Build-A-Bar out there, and that will actually have 4 TV screens on it. On Saturday, we'll have a college football game running, and then on Sunday, we'll have an NFL game running. I'm not sure which ones we'll have on those screens, but again, trying to appeal to the sports fan and everybody. Come on out and just enjoy the place. And just keep coming back year after year. And it's just an event you can't get anywhere else in Virginia like this.
Yeah, and of course, no matter what NFL stadium you go to, you won't have a better view on the water than this either. The view is unbelievable.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Being on the bridge, you actually have an elevated platform that's a half-mile long, about 12 feet off the water, and you just got the best view you could ever hope for any kind of race course. I've been to other race courses up and down the East Coast. Some of them are further away. Some of them you can only see the course at the end of where one of the turns are, but nowhere else have I ever been that you get this kind of view on the straightaways.
Talking to Kraig Cole, final few moments. When we were kids, we get anxious about Christmas. I guess this is now the few weeks prior to the event. This is kind of like Christmas Eve every night for you, Kraig. When is it?
It is. I mean, we've worked so hard and so long all year long to get here, and just like Christmas, you hit up on that date, and when we go through it, everything's a flash of activity, a lot of fun. All the presents get unwrapped, that kind of thing, and then it's over. And then that Monday we clean up, and then we start planning for the next year.
And it takes you a while to recuperate, I'm sure, right, Kraig? I mean,
usually a few days.
Yeah, a little water will do you good. Yeah. And talk about how people again can get involved. Talk about the weekend, the dates, the times, and the location.
Yeah, anybody who's interested in volunteering for this, we do have a volunteer link on our website at HamptonCupRegatta.com. September 20th, our kickoff party at 6:30 at Ouzelfinch Craft Brewery. Race dates for the 21st and 22nd of September. The bridge will open up at 10 a.m., and you can come on out at that point in time, grab your spot, grab a burger, grab a barbecue, grab a beer, and sit down and have a great time. And we look forward to seeing everybody.
Kraig, thank you for all that you do, for your time, your talent, and your treasure. All the best to you and the staff right there at the Hampton Cup Regatta for that big weekend coming up in September, the weekend of the 22nd.
All right, thanks, Greg.
Thank you. My pleasure. Kraig Cole right there from the Hampton Cup Regatta, truly a Hampton Roads event. Sports Scene will continue after these messages.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Like them on Facebook and visit them at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 485-5555 today. You are listening to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. Now, back to Greg. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
All right, back to Sports Scene every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock right here on WPMH. Great interviews, excellent guests, business segments, highlights, commentary, what teased me off. Of course, highlights is on gjbtv.com, hrsmhof.com, and hamptonroadsonlinemall.com. Always a pleasure to work with my esteemed producer, Andrew. Andrew, our question of the day presented by Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News. Do you like dealing with the public as far as when you're going out by yourself with your kids or your wife, or do you like to do your business and keep it moving?
You know, it depends entirely on the day. If I'm doing stuff for work and I'm running errands that are associated with that, then yeah, I just like to just move. I've got to keep everything in focus and my to-do lists and tasks clearly in mind. I don't usually give a lot of time for chit-chat and that sort of thing, but if I'm just out casually, then yeah, I do really enjoy chatting with people and taking a little extra time with the cashier or something like that. So it just depends, honestly.
Yeah, really on the day. And that's a good point because sometimes we're delayed by traffic and trying to park as well.
Absolutely.
All right, Sports Scene will continue after this. Mark your calendar for October 17th through 19th as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church presents the Newport News Greek Festival Fall Edition, an indoor event inside the Hellenic Center. Enjoy Greek food, beverages, desserts, dancing, music, and much more in a most pleasing atmosphere. Located on 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on I-64 with free admission and parking. Log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org. See you October 17th through 19th for the Newport News Greek Festival Fall Edition.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Kraig Bicouvaris.
I want to thank our good friends at Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News. Paul and the staff have great lunch, dinner, appetizers, salads, boneless traditional wings, great new menu. All the games on TV like NFL, college football, Major League Baseball, golf, tennis. It's all right there. Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News at 12150 Jefferson Avenue. Give them a call at 249-3999. That's 249-3999. 7 days a week, of course, for Buffalo Wild Wings in Newport News. Great food, great times for your friends and family at Buffalo Wild Wings, right next to Patrick Henry Mall. Let's welcome our regular guest right here, Ian Locke from the Norfolk Tides. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Another season coming to an end.
Another season in the books. Yeah, it's hard to believe the season's pretty much over. Great season at Harbor Park, long season, but lots of great players came through, lots of fun promotions, and we're already looking forward to next year.
Yeah, how do you talk about postseason as far as how many postseasons have you been a part of since you've been with the Tides?
My first year with the Tides was 2004. I joined in the fall of 2004, so I guess that first off season I would count as well, and then I did miss 1 year. The 2011 season wasn't here with the Tides, so about 15 years or so working in the off season, and for those who don't know, it's a little different. Obviously there's no games to play, but I handle a lot of the publications here at the ballpark, and our sales folks are already working on stuff for next year, and getting some brochures ready and some prices and all that stuff, so we can hit the ground running when we do have games back here at Harbor Park.
But how many postseasons have the Tides been involved since you've been part of the team?
Oh, as far as playoffs?
Yes.
As far as playoffs, twice actually. Just the first year in 2005. The Tides played in Toledo, and then 2015, the Tides were eliminated in the first round, played in Columbus, lost in 5 games of a 5-game series.
Right, and even though the Orioles have had a rough year this year, it's fun to watch them play spoilers in the month of August and September.
Yeah, and you know what? It's been so many Tides players doing the same thing going up there. We've had throughout the season here in Norfolk, we've had over 65 players play on our team, and over 30 of those guys have been playing in Baltimore as well. So you get guys like Jace Peterson was here at the beginning of the year, DJ Stewart, some other folks that have been throughout the year, and you look every night the Orioles post a lineup. It's 6, 7, 8 former Tides in that lineup. So obviously a rough year with the Orioles, pitching wise especially. Led to a down year, but they were kind of rebuilding. They knew that going into the year, and there's certainly been some bright spots up in Baltimore, not just with the Orioles, but throughout the minor league system. The big one for us, for the Tides, Ryan Mountcastle was named the International League MVP, which is the first time the Tides have had an MVP since 1997 when Roberto Pettigini won that award. So 22 years old, Ryan Mountcastle led the league in hits, and MVP season at such a young age. That certainly bodes well for the future.
And speaking of which, you've had a lot of great young players over the years transition to the Orioles, but one of your former guys, Yastrzemski's done very well with the Giants.
Yeah, it's great to see Mike Yastrzemski do well. He didn't get a chance really with the Orioles. Played parts of 3 seasons here in Norfolk, and always had great, showed some spurts where he was really tremendous. Making some highlight reel plays and hitting some clutch home runs, and he obviously has the name pedigree with his grandfather, where folks are certainly interested in him and his story. But sometimes guys just need a fresh start, and he got traded to San Francisco. Played the beginning of the year with their AAA affiliate before getting called up, and has really, really blossomed, and been a great story. It's good. It's fun to watch, and part of the perks of our jobs when we're working here with the Tides is you get to know some of the players, and got to know Mike really well over the 3 years he was here. And great guy, easy to root for, and we're certainly, even though he's not a member of the Orioles anymore, we're certainly rooting for him, our whole organization.
Do you follow his team much?
As far as the Giants?
Go ahead. Do you?
Do I follow the Giants?
Well, follow him and the Giants.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I follow the other teams as much as possible. Obviously we have games throughout the season here, but I tend to watch all the former Tides. It's crazy how many. Like I said earlier, we have 60-something players on the team this year. I know not many of them are going to come back next year. It's just the nature of the business. But
sure,
you get to see those guys go somewhere else. A couple weeks ago, there's a pitcher named Tim Melville who we had on our team in 2018, and had a rough outing, rough year, but was really just a good guy. Did a lot of community appearances, and everyone loved him on the staff here. And then you look all of a sudden on Twitter, and Tim Melville got promoted, was playing with the Rockies, and got called up to Colorado and threw 7 shutout innings and got his first big league win, and also got a hit in the game too. And it's like, wow, that's awesome. Good for Tim Melville. I know he's no longer in the Orioles system, but it's certainly a guy you root for, and you get to know these guys over the years. There's guys to root for sure, and that's the thing. I mean, so many players that do play for the Tides end up playing in the major league. So anytime anyone comes down to the ballpark, there's a great chance they're going to see someone who's going to, be appearing on SportsCenter later that year.
The last several years, when you play your last homestand, whether it's Labor Day or before Labor Day, do you guys kind of generally get together and say, all right, we need to improve on this, let's say next year for 2020, or when do you start really putting the hands down for 2020?
Yeah, so we do as a staff here, kind of take a breath once the season ends. It's kind of a sprint all year where we play 140 games in 152 days. So there's not much downtime during the season. So kind of catch our breath a little bit, kind of finalize, put a bow on some things at the end of the year in September. Then usually in like early to mid-October, we'll have some staff meetings where we get, everyone on staff, all hands on deck kind of thing, and kind of look at some promotional ideas for next year and go over what worked, what didn't from this past season, and just start looking forward to next year. So that way, when our sales folks are calling, and if we need to order certain hats or bobbleheads or jerseys or whatever it is for giveaways, we can start quoting those and getting the best prices and getting that information out there. And it's good to plan ahead, because there's always the more planning we can do, the better we'll be, marketing wise here at the ballpark.
You mentioned October, and how long does it take for you personally to decompress? I mean, this is one of the hottest summers we've had. You're always on the grind there. It's not typical business hours. You're there early in the morning until sometimes midnight or beyond. Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, for me, for the folks who don't know, I work out at the home and the road games as well. So, not necessarily working from the office, but, monitoring the game from when I'm home, or, just on my phone or whatever it is. So that first week when the Tides don't have a game, that first weekend is basically the first full weekend off since mid-March or so, where I can just not look at my email, not look at my phone, just kind of leave the Tides behind a little bit. Now, still, I'll probably end up watching a baseball game on the couch or something, and checking to see how some of our former guys are doing once they get called up. But it is a long season, and there is certainly some we obviously want to make the playoffs every year, but when we don't, it's kind of like, okay, you kind of take a deep breath and go back to kind of normal life for a little bit once the season ends. And I'm sure my wife will be very happy to have me home at normal hours the rest of the fall.
I'm sure. Yeah, and you manage a lot of different multitasking jobs there every single day. Did anything surprise you about 2019, the season in general?
A little bit. I mean, I know I've talked to you in the past about the offensive uptick at the AAA level with the new baseballs that we used throughout the year. That was something that I think we knew going in that was going to happen, but didn't expect the league itself to have that much offensive explosion. For example, I think something like 9 or 10 teams this year set franchise records for home runs hit. Which is just absurd to have that much offense in the season. But it was just a fun season overall. I mean, we had so many different promotions, and it's crazy to see the random folks that you get to meet at the ballpark. We had Stanley Hudson from The Office come in. David Wright was here for a Tidewater Shrine induction. O'Shane Zimenez, who was a ODU football player that was here on ODU night, who's now a defensive player for the Giants, and just so many random, folks that come through the ballpark, and then obviously just watching the Tides play all season and getting to see some of these guys, getting to see Ryan Mountcastle up close. He's ticketed for stardom at the major league level, and for us to have him the entire season and watch him play day in and day out is pretty cool to do as well.
All right, NorfolkTides.com. How else can people connect?
Yeah, so NorfolkTides.com will have all of our promotional schedules once we figure out our promotions. But if people want to get a head start on 2020, we'll have our 2020 schedule up there for people to check out. And we're always staying active on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So if you just search Facebook or Twitter, Instagram for Norfolk Tides, you'll find us, and we'll be up there making witty comments and hopefully having a little fun.
Ian, thanks for all that you do. You've been on this show for several years on a lot of my different shows on Sports Scene, on different stations. We look forward to talking to you again in 2020 and probably do a full-fledged interview again toward the end of the year about 2020 as well. All the best during the off season.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Ian Locke right there from the Norfolk Tides. Stay tuned.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Like them on Facebook and visit them at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 485-5555 today. Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Kraig Bicouvaris.
And welcome back to Sports Scene. I want to thank our good friends at Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Go by and see Mike and the staff. Spacious, nice dining area, excellent bar, lunch and dinner 7 days a week. They deliver burgers, steaks, all your favorites, soups, salads, appetizers, seafood, pasta, chicken, ribs, chops, much more, desserts, a kids menu, dine-in or carry-out at 1255 Fordham Drive in Virginia Beach. Give them a call at 523-4832. Speaking of Virginia Beach, our regular featured guest, Brenda Tusing from the Royal Chocolate. Brenda, how are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
Very good. We're transitioning into September now.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, really is. We were just talking a second ago about the weather and the storms, and it is that, it's exact word, transition.
Yeah, September's always been kind of like the Indian summer. I was born in September, and it can be humid one day and, of course, windy and mixed with rain.
Yeah, you just don't know what you're going to get.
And the one good thing about your place, you're indoors. The tourists, probably are scratching their heads saying, when are we going to get down to the ocean front? But they don't need to go to the ocean front to see your place.
No, they do not. They shouldn't go to the ocean front to see my place because we are right smack dab in the middle of town center, Virginia Beach. And, we've been there almost 13 years
Unbelievable.
Now. I know. Time is just flying by.
And the view there, right there by the waterfall across the street and walking around there, it's just something special is going on there. The theater, there's something for everyone there.
There really is, and as I said, we've been there 13 years, so we were one of the first retail businesses in town center. So to watch the changes has been quite remarkable. And, I was driving home the other day thinking exactly what you're saying. I was watching the people, over by Bravo's where the big fountain is and people just walking around and shopping. There's a lot of benches and people sitting out. There's an ice cream shop. They were having ice cream. And, the Zyder Theater is just, gosh, what a plus that is for our area. So, there is absolutely, it's theater, it's dining, it's, clothing shopping, little specialty shops like mine, There's a great place. There's just so much. And it's really remarkable to me watching it over 13 years.
Right.
It's been great.
And, of course, we talk about always negative stuff, around the world, but, something about the town center, it's pleasing to the eyes, too. It really is.
Well, it is, and it's so family oriented, and I see everything from single people and couples and people with kids and strollers, and there's so much living space in town center that we very often see people walking their dogs, and it's just anybody, any size, shape, family dynamic. They're all in town center. And it's very relaxing, and it feels very comfortable and safe. There's a great spot in general. I love it.
Talking to Brenda Tusing from the Royal Chocolate, Kraig Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. And you mentioned 13 years. As you've grown as a store and your staff, so is the town center, kind of equal parallel.
Yeah, very much so. We've changed. We never changed, which I'm very grateful for. We never confused our audience. We decided what we wanted to be in the very beginning, which is gourmet chocolate and fabulous customer service. We've done both of those things, if I have to brag a little, quite well. And we've stayed true to that. We didn't veer off and try to do other things and be different. And we're chocolate and great service. And it's just a wonderfully inviting atmosphere. Our staff is absolutely unparalleled, I think, in their customer service and their kindness. So it's just a really great environment. And then there's chocolate.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, and
how about that?
And you're open 7 days a week. Talk about your hours too.
We are open 7 days a week. We're open Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. We close at 9 p.m. And then Sunday we're open 12 to 5. Now we are closed. We'll be closed for Labor Day. We close for the big holidays, of course. Give ourselves and our staff just a nice little break and do things with their friends and family. So yeah, we're open, but we're open 7 days a week. And, you can pop in. We do some neat events, too. We're doing the first Saturday of every month, so this is coming up. We do make your own chocolate bar. So you can drop in between 11 and 2 p.m. It's only $10 per person. It can be kids. It can be adults. And you come in and you actually create your own little chocolate bar and design the box that it will go in. And like I said, it's only $10, and I want to tell you, it's a nice-sized chocolate bar. So that's been a big hit. More and more people stopping by for that on a Saturday. Our gourmet apples, of course, are always spectacularly popular. And, next week, starting on Tuesday, the day after Labor Day, don't tell anyone, we're going to have a $3 off special on our apples all week.
Nice.
Yeah, nice going back to school special.
And you can connect on social media. And one thing, folks, too, and it's interesting, Brenda, because a lot of the senior citizens, they like to do their things during the day. You're open till 9 o'clock at night. It's a different demographic. I was talking to one of our guests about Old Dominion having day or night games, and there is a different demographic that will probably come during business hours compared to late evening hours, I'm sure.
Well, yes and no, because I will tell you in the evening, and you're right as far as, it is a little bit of the younger crowd, but so many people have been to dinner somewhere in town center.
Sure.
And then they walk over and see us, and maybe they buy a chocolate-dipped strawberry, or we have frozen beverages and hot chocolates. They might, whatever they're doing, they may choose to walk around a little bit and have dessert with us.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a mix. Daytime, we do see, we have a mixed demographic there, too, because, we have so many, not only people who live in town center, but we have so many office spaces that we get a lot of people from the offices coming down. So we're a real mixed bag, almost no matter what time you drop in.
Yeah, something for everyone. You and Terry and the staff do a great job. Talk about how people can visit you. The phone number is 557-6925. You're open 7 days a week. You cater to everybody. You cater to holidays too as well. But chocolate 7 days a week. Tell us how people can connect.
They can find us. We have a great Facebook page. I would say that, and it's very interactive. So we are on Facebook. It's The Royal Chocolate. You can find our website, theroyalchocolate.com. You can also order on our website. We have beautiful gift baskets. We ship seasonally, so that'll be coming up here in another 2 months maybe. And we deliver locally all year long, so you can order with us and have something shipped or delivered. We also have an Instagram account, which I never know.
And Twitter.
I never know. Yeah, we have a little bit of it. We don't do much on Twitter, I'll be honest with you. We're not big Twitterers.
Right.
Tweeters, I guess it is, not Twitterers. But yeah, but we're good. We're big on Instagram and Facebook, and of course our website.
But just Google the Royal Chocolate, Brenda.
Yeah, and you'll come up as the best chocolate shop in all of Virginia Beach.
Wow, the only one that I
serious.
know. Yeah, the only one that I know.
There are one or two others, but yeah.
No, I don't know of any others. Just the Royal
That's
Chocolate.
That's good.
That's
Don't
it.
go out there looking for them.
No.
We're the only one, Greg.
Yeah,
really, trust me.
that's
We're
it.
the only one.
The main one, the Royal Chocolate. Brenda, all the best to you and Terry.
Thank you, Greg. You have a great rest of the day.
You too. All right.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye. The Brenda Tusing right there from the Royal Chocolate. Sports Scene will continue.
What tees you off? Presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
And what teased me off, I want to thank our good friends at Sakura Japanese Restaurant in Chesapeake and Oh Yummy Sushi in Virginia Beach. Andrew, what teased me off? A coach who quits a few weeks before the season with very little notice.
Yeah, that's hard and a tremendous challenge. That leadership role is so significant. And, of course, when you start a season, momentum can be so important. And that's exactly what you're sucking out of a team when something like that happens.
Especially the high school kids who are very vulnerable emotionally.
Absolutely.
All right, the recent uniforms Major League Baseball players wore all weekend, the weekend of August 25th. Let's be consistent. Let's just don't set it up how you want.
Yeah, tradition is really important with sports. And uniforms, I think sometimes people feel like maybe that's not such a big deal. But you know, it kind of is. It's not just branding and everything else, but it is. It's legacy. It's what you think of when you think of your favorite team, that sort of thing. And so those decisions and those things are important. They have a ripple effect, and you're right, they need to be consistent.
Yeah, this can never be overlooked as well. Clutter in your car or your house. And you know how it is, we all have to take the trash out, but then again, Andrew, it seems like everything gets moved to the garage in boxes.
Yeah, I mean, I had somebody say, you know, if you feel like you have clutter, put some stuff in a box. If you haven't used it in a year, just give it away. I do find, though, that there are some things that you only need every once in a while, and then, you know, to go out and buy something new every time seems wasteful in its own way. So it's a challenge. I know I need to adjust, and our family probably needs less, and having kids also complicates things. But yeah, it probably is better for all of us just to try and minimalize and simplify all the things that we have in our home, I think.
Exactly. That's why the show Hoarders exists, folks. All right. Another thing too, Andrew, you've seen this before on the highways, on the interstates, even on our neighborhoods. People obstructing the flow of traffic themselves with their own vehicles or standing in the middle of the road saying, go this way, go that way. They're not officers.
Yeah, I mean, and especially around here, we do have quite a bit of traffic. We have some aggressive driving as well in the area. It's not only dangerous, it is a huge pain. And around here, it does, talking about ripple effects earlier, it can cause such a huge backup. Something small can become just such a huge pain in the neck for so many people in Hampton Roads when you're doing something like that on the road.
We've talked about entertainment prices, but how do you take a family of four to a movie and have to spend almost $100?
Well, I don't, is the answer to that question. Yeah, I mean, you know, theaters have really got to reevaluate, and the studios have to work this out with the theaters that, it's just too expensive. A very well-known director, Quentin Tarantino, is saying and lobbying for theaters to bring the prices down, both the tickets and the concessions. You've got to make it a more affordable event, an activity for individuals and families, or else you're just going to keep seeing fewer and fewer movies making money in theaters.
Absolutely. Great point. That's what teased me off. want to thank our guests today, Harry Minium, Kraig Cole, Ian Locke, and Brenda Tusing. For more, log on to gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link at Greg Bick on Twitter, at GJB Radio on Twitter, and you can see the rest of my Twitter handles on gjbtv.com in the contact section. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Mark your calendar for October 17th through 19th as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church presents the Newport News Greek Festival Fall Edition, an indoor event inside the Hellenic Center. Enjoy Greek food, beverages, desserts, dancing, music, and much more in a most pleasing atmosphere. Located on 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on I-64 with free admission and parking. Log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org. See you October 17th through 19th for the Newport News Greek Festival Fall Edition.
Opa! 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 Opa!